Have you ever had your brain be on fire with an idea, only to have negativity creep in when you're reminded of your own lack of resources? This week I hit a bit of a creative wall, and then realized something dangerous happens when creative energy has nowhere to go. And then I asked the question, what happens when we can imagine so much, but we can't create any of it? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mitchell Lippiott. I'm a recent film school graduate here in Brisbane, Australia, and this is the channel where I am documenting my growth in filmmaking and visual effects learning and teaching myself Blender and Unreal Engine. And I wanted to say thank you to all the recent subscribers who have jumped onto the channel and given their support. I appreciate you all so much, and I appreciate all of my subscribers. And I wanted to talk about something that I think most creatives have an issue with or can struggle with when they're so passionate and so eager with an idea, but unfortunately they're limited by what they can have access to and what they are able to create in as a whole. We've all had that rush of inspiration, that moment where everything clicks: music, visuals, characters, stories. You see the entire world in your head, and then the crash. You try to act on it, and suddenly reality hits. No money, no time, not enough skills yet. Maybe no one around you believes it's even worth trying. It's like fresh milk left out in the sun. Creative energy spoils when it sits too long. Creative energy, when it's sitting in your mind, when it's sitting in your soul, can turn into a bit of a toxic energy after a certain amount of time when you start to fixate on the things that are negative or that you can't do, or fixate on the things that you don't have access to, and then you start to look at things as a bit of a broader spectrum. Instead of focusing on the problem, the creative inspiration that you have and how you can get it done, you start to fixate on things that you don't have access to, like money or skills or a community. And these are all things that I've struggled with a lot as a creative. I've had the ideas that I knew that if I just had the money, the skills, the time, the social network, anything, that I could make this amazing idea. But unfortunately, when it's let to sit too long and it bounces around in your mind, it can turn into a very toxic and negative feeling. In physics, entropy is the idea that everything naturally moves from order to disorder. Symptoms break down over time unless energy is constantly put in to maintain them. And when you apply it to creativity, we don't express creative energy. We bottle it up or we let it sit. The order starts to unravel. The idea decays. It warps. What started as something beautiful can start to feel bitter, even toxic. And just like a negative space fills with dust and clutter, a neglected idea fills with self-doubt and frustration. Sometimes when you think about these creative ideas that you can have, or these moments of inspiration, when you're left to go back into the real world, essentially, like back to a job or back to a situation where you don't feel completely fulfilled as a creative, you can start to almost let the cracks shine through. You can almost, like, you see this different color, this different hue of the world, because it's not quite shining the way that you want it to shine. It's not reflecting what you want as a creative. This is where it turns toxic. Creativity becomes frustration. Frustration becomes bitterness. Bitterness becomes self-doubt. You start saying things like, why even bother? I'll never get there. Why do I even need to write it down? This can lead to intense mental health impact where you feel this spiral, and you can stall projects and even your sense of self. You can start to look at things as a bit of a waste of time. I know I have. I'm not the only one. And it can take a bit of time before you can find yourself back onto that path. I had an idea for a short film last month that got me so fired up, but within days I was talking myself out of it. I felt like I was stuck in quicksand, and the more I thought about the idea, the more I resented it for being just out of reach. I started punishing myself by staying up late, not going to the gym, not looking after myself, because I was in this path of, like, why couldn't I be in that position? Why didn't I do better earlier, where I was able to fulfill my creativity and my creative wants and desires? When it came to being the storyteller that I wanted to be, I almost felt like I'd swept my own legs out from under me. Like, no one else was doing anything. It was just completely on me. It was all my own fault. And this is where sometimes it can take a little bit of a self-reflection and a bit of a shift in your creative outlet can pull you out, and it can start to open up the floodgates, just that little bit that you can allow some creative energy to get through, where you're constantly having a fresh flow of creative energy. And what you are having, the ideas that you are doing, they're coming out, they're coming to fruition. You can see them in front of you, because the best thing in creativity is failing. The best thing that you can do in being creative is failing. Not failing in a sense of letting someone down, or letting yourself down for that matter. Failing in the sense of seeing it not quite turn out the way that your mind's eye did see it, but seeing it the way that it reflects your skills essentially. The way that you do it, it does reflect your skills. And the best thing that can happen from there is you get better. You always get better. As you all know, I've recently found Blender. I've recently been inspired to teach myself VFX and animation and CGI. And something changed when I started allowing myself to turn to a different creative outlet. I started animating, and even though I was a total beginner and everything was just pretty much being done in the reflection of a tutorial, it was like the floodgates had opened on my creativity. Just enough. My creative energy finally had somewhere to go. Instead of souring, that energy started to move, to grow, to evolve. And the more I learned, the more ideas I got. I wasn't trapped anymore. I was engaged. I had found a new language to speak, my vision. Blender gave me access to a whole new world of ideas I could work toward. And that gave me something priceless: momentum, fire, purpose. As I've said in recent videos, the amount of fire and passion that I've had in this almost last month of learning VFX and being on YouTube and exposing myself to this new challenge, it's a feeling unlike any other. I cannot begin to tell you how exciting it is to get home, to jump onto your computer, to think about an idea all day long, or an idea that you're already working on and you want to expand on it. You want to give it more life. You have an idea to give it more viscosity, you want to give it some more depth. The chess animation that I'm working on now, I thought that it was getting close to being done, but then I thought, wait a minute, maybe you could use a really nice light with some nice dust particles getting around the chessboard. Maybe I could put a wall torch in. Maybe I could add this in. And it started to come together the way that you see the art in your mind. You see it with these textures, you see it with this weight, you see it with this fulfillment and this creative energy that's flowing out of you. And that's the best part when you find that creative outlet. It doesn't always have to be your preferred creative outlet. Mine's filmmaking. I want to be able to go and make films and make whatever I want with my stories and my narratives. But for the time being, while I'm working on that and while I'm building myself up and while I'm having these ideas take their time to come to fruition, I'm learning VFX, which will, in the long run, serve me in my filmmaking as I'm able to incorporate that to my stories, to my possibilities, and even my any future creative want that I may have. It's going to benefit me in that way. I had the core realization that I realized the problem wasn't the idea, it was my relationship to the gap between the idea and my ability to act on it. Now, I want to give you some tools. I want to give you some steps that you can take in order to reclaim your energy and start to work towards letting some of that creative energy flow out of you. So I want you to micro create. It could be one scene, one sketch, one frame. It could be one sentence. But I want you to try it. I want you to just sit down and start writing, start drawing, start animating, start filming. Sit in front of your own camera, and it could turn into your very first on-screen draft of your idea. If you can't film it, you haven't got a camera, I want you to storyboard it. You can't model it, I want you to write it down. You can't vision it, you can't quite write it just yet, I want you to speak it. I want you to document your momentum. Let the stuckness be the art, because you never know, in 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, when you look back on that, whatever version of it was, compared to the version that you are at now, it's going to be a massive leap, a gigantic leap, and you'll be so thanking your previous self, your past self for it. Lastly, I want you to find or better your community. You never know who's waiting to help lift your idea up. Entropy wins when we stay still. Movement, any movement, is how you push back. What I've done since being involved in Blender is I've gotten into Blender forums, I've gotten into Blender communities on Facebook and Reddit, and even the comment sections of some YouTube channels. It's been phenomenal. And I can't tell you how amazing it is to have those back and forths with other creatives. Because one of the best things for me that I've seen in this journey is seeing how bad I am. And that may sound weird, but when you start to see how bad you are and where you're at and where you could be, that is a true challenge. And that is the best thing for a creative, is seeing what they can do and how they can do it to be better. Finally, I want to offer a new perspective. Entropy isn't a villain, it's a law. It's nature telling us keep moving or things will fall apart, and that includes your dreams. Yeah, creativity can spoil, but it can also evolve, ferment, distill. Maybe you're not making the masterpiece today, but what you can make still matters. Before I finish up this video, I wanted to end on a personal note that today's my birthday. I've turned 32 today. I've been doing YouTube and Blender for 3 and a bit weeks. I've done filmmaking for a little over 2 years, a little over 2 years. Before that, as you know, I was a personal trainer, I was a butcher, and before that, I was nothing. I was just a high school kid who had all these wants and all this creativity and no way to know that there was a creative outlet waiting for him 14 years later. I guess 15 years later after school now. No matter what age you are, no matter where you are, no matter what situation you're in, no matter who is telling you can't do it, you can. You can change your situation. You can put yourself on a new path. You can find that inspiration to be creative and to allow that artwork to flow out of you. And it might be visual, it might be audible, it might be the written word, whatever it could be. I know that there's a creative outlet waiting for you. Okay. I'm going to finish it up there. I hope you're looking after yourself. I hope you're getting out and being active. I hope you're getting out there and getting some sunshine, getting grounded in nature, and make sure you drink your water as well. I will see you in the next one.